The UK contemplates releasing the ethnicity of high-profile offenders.
The police will be the new guidelines are going to be that they should release the ethnicity and the nationality of suspects when there's a high-profile case, when there is concern about public disorder or community cohesion or whatever.
The Guardian. Plans for UK police to reveal suspects' ethnicity, a recipe for dog whistle politics, say campaigners. Guidelines for high-profile cases aim to counter misinformation, but critics warn of unintended consequences. Plans to disclose the ethnicity and immigration status of criminal suspects in the UK have been condemned by race campaigners for setting a dangerous precedent for dog whistle politics, which will make black and brown communities more vulnerable. The Home Secretary, Yvette Cooper, has welcomed new police guidelines released on Wednesday, which encourage forces to release the race and nationality of those charged in high-profile cases. It is meant to combat misinformation on social media, which spread last summer after the murder of 3 schoolgirls in Southport. False information about the killer's nationality, religion, and asylum status fueled widespread unrest throughout the country. What The Guardian is referring to is that some people reported that he was a Muslim and that he was a refugee. And this wasn't true. This was inaccurate. But what's true is the fact that he's the son of refugees and that he had an Al-Qaeda training manual. And they actually locked people up for getting this small detail wrong.
Now, and a woman has been arrested by Cheshire Police in relation to an inaccurate information on social media about the attacker in the Southport murders. It says a 55-year-old woman from near Chester was arrested earlier today, Thursday the 8th, of course, on suspicion of publishing written material to stir up racial hatred and false communications.
And it's this righteous anger and civil disorder that the British establishment is trying to use to try to clamp down on the freedom of speech, on the right to know, on the public even being allowed to express anger, indignation at the situation in which England now finds itself. Race campaigners believe the move may encourage focus on the racial background of suspects and will lead to further right-wing conspiracy theories when information is not released to the public. Right-wing conspiracy theorists? You don't need to concoct conspiracies when reality is staring you in the face every single day. Any Chattery, the co-counsel of legal at the Joint Council for the Welfare of Immigrants, said releasing the ethnicity of everyone suspected of serious crimes will simply fuel mistrust, deepen divisions, and make black and brown communities more vulnerable to prejudice and harm. Wow. It's very interesting how the British establishment goes to great pains to try to paint the victims of this criminality, of this violence, as the perpetrators of this criminality and violence. It's not white people attacking brown people. It is brown people attacking white people. Some point to cases like Southport, where the rumors were quashed by releasing specific information, but building a blanket policy around this is dangerous. It turns race into a variable in policing and public debate. Which race is a variable in policing and public debate? We're having the debate right now, aren't we? When we know the vast majority of serious crimes, including sexual offenses, are committed by white men. Well, in a country that's over 75% white, it kind of tracks that most offenses would be committed by white men. If you were in an African country that was 80% black, wouldn't it track that a majority of offenses were committed by black men? Common sense, but the modern progressive liberal lacks common sense. And I hate to break it to you, The Guardian, there are ethnic minorities in Great Britain, in the United States. We all know the 1350 statistic where about 13% of the United States commits 50% of murders. And Great Britain also has minorities that are disproportionately involved in certain crimes. That's reality. You can't wish it away.
Well, since 2010, the number of violent and sexual crimes that involved a knife have gone up by more than 50%. The number of threats to kill using knives have more than tripled. And this isn't just an inner-city London problem. Surrey, for God's sake, crowned as the poshest home county in England, has seen a nearly 600% increase in offences involving sharp instruments over the last 10 years. And let me say what we're all thinking. There's one group in society that is most involved in knife crime from both sides. Nearly half of all murder victims in the capital have been black. That's despite black people making up only 13% of London. And on the other side, nearly half of people charged with knife crimes are black. Often these are young black men running around in broad daylight, acting tough with their blades. I've seen the videos. You've seen the videos.
I was on a robbery squad. Predominantly the suspects that we were after, about 72% were young black males. In London, for example, 40% of all sex crimes are committed by illegal migrants.
The role of the justice system should be to unite communities in pursuit of justice, not to single people out because of their ethnicity. Peter Herbert from the Society of Black Lawyers questioned the role of police around issues of ethnicity and nationality when forces will face allegations of institutional racism. He said the disclosure of ethnicity in particular is especially sensitive. People have never committed crimes on the basis of their ethnicity or nationality, and therefore the whole premise about releasing this information in certain cases sets a dangerous precedent. Oh, really, Guardian? Thousands, maybe tens of thousands of little white girls weren't targeted by Pakistani groomer gangs? Really? Ethnicity plays no role, right?
People in Britain woke up to shocking news. In the small northern town of Rotherham, 1,400 young girls had been groomed, abused, trafficked, and raped. Most of the victims were white. Most of the abusers were ethnically Pakistani. Fears of being seen as racist had contributed to a cover-up.
They were failing them because they were prioritising social cohesion over the victims of actual crimes.
But some have said that the story has been overblown, even that it's racist.
People in positions of authority have always been frightened of being called racist. The racial dynamics are irrefutable. There's always been tiptoeing around that fact.
And this is backed up by powerful, extremely distressing testimony from a rape gang survivor, Ella Hall, which is not her real name. She testifies that her abuse was racially and religiously aggravated. She was raped because of her race and religion, and her rapist told her while she was being raped that this was happening because she was white and because she was a Christian. And during rapes, she was verbally abused for being a non-Muslim. Now, she says, I was told that to show them respect, I mustn't eat pork. I was told that Muslim girls are good and pure, and they stay virgins until marriage, but all white girls are slags, and they all sleep with hundreds of people. I was told white girls are trash, they're all whores, they are lower than feces under your shoe, they don't obey Allah, so they deserve to be punished, they don't dress modestly. Muslim women are pure because they cover down to their ankles and down to their wrists, and the hem of their top comes down below their knees. White girls show the curves of their body, so they are asking for it. They should be raped as punishment for not obeying Allah. Sex with a kafir, which is a non-believer girl, doesn't count as adultery. They believed they had a position of religious moral superiority over non-believers. They believed it was their duty to punish us, as they believed that doing so made them good Muslims. This is what they were taught by their mothers. I was told that in Islam, if a girl or woman looks at a man who isn't her brother, father, or her husband, then that means she wants to have sex with them. So I was told to look at the floor when I was around Muslim men. So when I did look at a waiter in a restaurant, I was then taken away to be gang raped as punishment. I was told that according to their faith community, girls are old enough for sex when they start their periods at age 11.
And if this doesn't enrage you, if this doesn't infuriate you at your deepest core, if this doesn't set aflame every cell in your body in revulsion, then you're not a human being. You're not a man. And this didn't just happen in the one city of Rotherham. This happened in hundreds of English cities.
In the case of, say, the grooming gangs, Baroness Louise Casey pointed out that, a third of cases, they didn't record the ethnicity. And you think, oh, come on. As I say, if you apply for a library card in the local council, you have to, they ask for your ethnicity. Of course they know.
The guidance, which comes into immediate effect, was developed by the National Police Chiefs Council in recognition of public concerns and to ensure police processes were fit for purpose in an age of rapid information spread. This month, Reform UK accused authorities of hiding the identities and immigration status of two men reported to be Afghan asylum seekers charged over the alleged rape of a 12-year-old girl in Warwickshire. In May, when a car plowed into crowds celebrating Liverpool's FC's winning of the Premier League title, Merseyside police disclosed in the public interest that the man arrested was white and British in order to quash rumors of a terrorist attack.
It was interesting, Merseyside police, when they decided to release within a very short space of time, within an hour, after we had a car plough into Liverpool fans in a parade, and they said the suspect who'd been arrested was a white British man who born in the local area, because I think everyone assumed, I think not unreasonably, he said, oh, this looks like the modus operandi of Islamist terrorism, because we've had cases where cars have appeared to plough into people, and it has been Islamist terror. So they chose to put that information out. But I think a lot of people felt that if it was the other way round, they wouldn't have put out that information. So it does seem to think, I think for most of us, think that they put out the information when it is someone, let's face it, who is in the white majority, and they don't put out the information when it is either a minority ethnic group or indeed, particularly if it is someone who is Muslim.
As a matter of policy, the British authorities very rarely ever initially name the ethnicity of terrorism suspects, at least initially. They very rarely release the ethnicity of any criminal unless it is a white man. Just as that newscaster said, there is two tiers of justice. One for the native and one for the newcomer. Decisions on releasing such information will remain with police forces, with wider legal and ethical considerations also taken into account. The MPCC said, verifying a suspect's immigration status will be up to the Home Office, not to the police. Which means exactly what you think it means, that they will be hiding this information in the future, and they will release it when it suits their fancy, when it is a native committing the crime. Diana Johnson, the policing minister, said the government will want police to release these details in most cases. She told the BBC that disinformation was a bigger problem for society and said the government was working with social media providers to tackle the issue. Yeah, with censorship. The former Metropolitan Police Chief Superintendent Dal Babu was warned of the unintended consequences of the new guidance, which he said could lead to more online speculation in cases where these details are not released. The danger is there will be an expectation for police to release information on every single occasion, he told BBC's Radio 4's Today program. The Home Office will not be encouraging the release of ethnicity and immigration status in all cases, and there are notable occasions when it was not. One such incident is the case of Rhiannon White from Walsall, West Midlands, who died 3 days after being stabbed last October. The ethnicity of the arrested man was not disclosed at the time by the police or the Home Office despite demands on social media. Dang Chal Majak, 19, an asylum seeker from South Sudan, has pleaded not guilty to her murder. Officials plan to consult police and other agencies whenever a request for information about a suspect's ethnicity or immigration status is received. Ministers are said to be well aware of their responsibilities to the wider community and have already had to deal with the steady flow of requests for information about suspects.